is up, guys? Arolf Mora here, back again with another video, and today we'll be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Fantastic Four Doctor Doom. This is Build-A-Figure Super Scroll, so let's get into it. Taking a look around the packaging, on the top you get the Fantastic Four logo, on the side pictures of Victor Von Doom, same thing. On the back you get a picture of the figure with a brief description, so pause if you want to look and read at those. And on the bottom, UBC, scan it if you want it. Good luck finding this one. And without further ado, let's get into it. Doing some size comparisons, here is Doctor Doom next to some Walgreens exclusive figures like the Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer, as well as classic comic book characters like Loki, Thor, Iron Man, Wolverine, and not Spider-Ham, and also some movie figures from the Marvel Legends and Marvel Select line. Also, Doctor Doom comes with the left leg of the Super Scroll, so there you go, L right there. Now for Doctor Doom's accessories, you get one pair of fists, very nice marbling, not really expected, but it works well. So this is what it looks like on the figure. In addition, with the hands here, you get an extra alternative head, which seems to be more classical Doctor Doom. I really don't like this head sculpt as much as the one that you get on the figure, but you could see they actually added a helmet over a head sculpt, which is a nice touch, and you can move it like so. So they actually laid it over a head sculpt, which is nice. And you can see some nice texturing details. The hood is made out of soft rubbery plastic, and just looking underneath, you can see where it's glued right there. Now comparing this to the one that you get on the figure, I feel like the one on the figure here has a more modern design without the rivets. I like the more wider open hood right there. It looks more menacing as opposed to this classical design for Doctor Doom. And you can see the hood itself is drastically different right there. It's much more longer on the modern looking one, and this is what it looks like on the figure. And for his final accessory, you get a pistol. Even though they don't showcase it in the packaging, it's pre-installed and tucked away in his holster right here, which is nicely textured, nicely detailed with a letter D, which I'll get into in the closer portion part of this video. Now, any Call of Duty fans, don't quote me on this, but it looks like a Mauser pistol, kind of a vintage style German pistol, which is just black and basic detail, but this is what it looks like on the figure. Now, taking a closer look at Doctor Doom here, starting off with that beautiful head sculpt. Really like these silvers throughout the whole figure that they use, kind of the semi-transparent silver with bits of marbling swirls throughout. So each figure that you get, or each Doctor Doom figure that you see, is very different from one another because of how they molded the silver plastic. But just looking at some details there, very nicely sculpted details right there on the head sculpt, and more defined sculpting details there on the hood and the cape itself, which is very nice. And you could see made out of soft rubbery plastic. The figures that they released this year and last year, they're just getting better and better. And with the release of the figures, or the showcasing of the figures from New York Toy Fair, I heard that they're going to have figures with without any pins on the legs, so it's going to be a more seamless looking figure. So I can't wait to see what that design is. But looking at this design in particular, taking off the cape right there, you can see you got his infamous jetpack right there on the back. You get that nice silvering details throughout, nice sculpting details. You get marbling, but it does work with this type of figure because it's kind of a more century type armor. So it's going to be more Renaissance area. It's going to have more defects in the metal. It's not going to be as your knight in shiny armor type figure, but it will have some defects throughout. And lifting up the skirt here, you got some details in the hips right there. It's made out of a soft rubbery plastic. It's a little bit more stiffer in the front here, but you could see they sculpted it throughout. And lifting up the back skirt here just to show you the details right there. You can see that same marbling continues and that same texturing details on the gluteus maximus right there. and you can see the armor pieces right there have some buckles on the side which are painted brown, which is a nice touch, and they're painted cleanly, which is nice to see. And you get some more nice silvery details right there, and you got peg holes at the bottom of his feet. Now moving back up to the head here, what's interesting here is you get some nice articulation points right there. It's kind of a ball joint, and just popping it off right there, you can see how that ball joint looks and how it works, and you can see how deep it is right there by putting my finger in there. So you get extra additional articulation points, which I will showcase just a little bit in the articulation part of the video. But you can see just popping it off here, you want to push it to one side, left or right, and then it'll just pop off. But you can see it's a ball joint, so you can rotate it around, move it up and down. You get some crazy range in the neck area, which is a nice touch. I really like this interesting design that Hasbro went for. And you can see moving the neck down and putting the cape back on, and then attaching the head. You could see how far the head looks down, which is very, very nice and very menacing. For Dr. Doom's articulation, you get a ball hinge at the head here, so it does rotate all the way around, showcasing the classic head right here. If you're wondering, it could look up that far, but it springs back like so because of the hood. It can look down that much, but if you push the neck joint right there, which is kind of stiff, and the head tends to pop off while you're doing so, you can get it to look down even more like so. Just bear with me here because this is one stiff joint. You could also move it back all the way like so if you want it to look up even further. Just removing the cape here. That's how far it looks back, or looks up that far. So that's interesting, and you get a rotation like that, side to side. It's very stiff. You can make it rotate all the way around, but it's very stiff. Now just pushing the cape off to the side here, the arms do rotate all the way around. They bend a little over 90 degrees and inward that much, which is good. You also get a bicep rotation, double jointed elbows, bends over 90 degrees. No forearm rotation, but the wrists are on hinges, so they rotate all the way around. Same thing with the fists here, all the way around, up that far, down that much. You got a ball joint at the kind of the abdomen area, so you can bend forward that far. You can bend back that much, which is nice, but it kind of leaves a gap in the front, which is ugly, but you can cover it up with the belt. You get some side-to-side movement and 360-degree rotation, and you could also rotate it, so that's what that looks like. Now moving the skirts outward and the back skirt like that, his legs can kick forward that far, so he could sit down like so if you want a sitting down Dr. Doom pose, which you can achieve with this figure. Back quite a bit, which is very nice. Since the way his armor is sculpted, you can rotate it all the way around. You can't actually, so you can move it just side to side. You also get a double jointed knee right there, and his feet here are on hinges and a swivel, so you can bend it down like so. You can push it over the armor right there to get more range like so, and they can bend up like that pretty far, which is nice. And you get a rotation at the foot like so, side to side. And you also get the ankle pivot right there, and his legs move outward that far. You can almost do these splits and doing the ankle pivot test. Just cut to it. He is good to go. So yeah, that is it guys. If you guys like the video, drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and hit the bell to be notified when I upload a new video. Now even though this figure comes 2 per case, he's still selling out everywhere, and he's still hard to find. Even though that you can purchase it right now on third-party sites for like $30. It's eBay where all the scalpers and all the resellers sell it for like $30 to $40 and possibly even $50 if you get one of those types of sellers. But having this figure in hand, I could see why people actually are looking for this guy. He is a great figure. I really like the sculpting, the texturing details, the articulation. There are some minor nitpicks and cons that I have about this figure, like the loose joints in the ankles right there with the added hinge or swivel at the feet. It's kind of hard to get this guy in a dynamic pose utilizing that ankle pivot. Now with his accessories, you get just one extra head and one pair of hands. Would have been nice if they gave us different hood styles, and like you could swap out the hoods from the one on the figure right there, and then the the head sculpt right here. So I wish they had swappable hood pieces, and would have been nice if they had some extra gestured hands. But other than that, he's pretty much he's a fine figure if you're buying it just for this guy and just playing around with it. He's a great figure to have. Finally, a Doctor Doom that can go with your Fantastic Four figures, the classic ones, not the ones in this wave, but hopefully I can get around into reviewing the rest of the wave and building that Super Scroll. So those 4 or 5 figures won't be hard to find. But other than that, if you could find them, go pick them up. Don't pay the overpriced prices online because it's not that worth it. But yeah, that is it, guys. Hope you guys like it. Arolf Mora. This is signing out. Peace.